Solo episode number 2, why just keep learning. This episode will help you or any of us own our big dreams by really focusing on removing imposter syndrome. Now bear with me because this one might be a bit of a beast, but it makes sense since this concept will be an entire book someday, maybe even a couple books, but I'll do my best to keep it short. We may or may not actually achieve our dreams. And that's an important thing to point out. We cannot control the actual results, but what we can do is simply refuse to give up on our dreams. No matter how many things happen, no matter how much time passes, no matter how close or how far we are to the finish line, we can keep going. We never know when it will come true, if it will come true. So in the meantime, all we can do is simply continue down the path and keep learning. So why did I create Just Keep Learning? Take a moment and think about what learning is. Not just for 1 second, but give yourself maybe a minute or two to think about what learning actually means. Close your eyes and think about everything that comes to mind with the term learning. What is your definition? How does it work? More importantly, what does it mean to you? Do you like it? Do you hate it? I'd be interested in actually knowing what you think, so please do reach out. But either way, learning is a huge part of my life and becoming a bigger part every day. By using the concepts and values of JKL, we'll all be better off in anything that we do, but it starts with asking ourselves that one simple yet complex question: what is learning? We can learn from everyone and everything. We'll never have it all figured out. Our goal could be to build a massive company. We get started, build it up to some kind of crazy $2 billion exit, and we celebrate. But then what do we do next? We take on the next thing. We keep learning. On the contrary, maybe we failed, maybe it didn't work out, we lost all of our money, had to lay everyone off, and after we are finished, no matter how upset or much we're struggling, the world doesn't stop. It's just time to say thank you and ask what's next. All that is ever left is to just keep learning. Now, this is a super random example. I love Ariana Grande's song, Thank You Next. Considering that it's a breakup song, it's a sneaky good wisdom track too. Not to bore you with all the lyrics, but check out a few of them to see what I mean. She taught me love. She taught me patience, how she handles the pain. I've loved and I've lost, but that's not what I see. I've learned from the pain. Thank you. Next. We could classify something good or bad if we really needed to, but most times we don't need to. The belief that every relationship and interaction is a great opportunity to learn is the right attitude to have. Thank you for what you taught me or what that taught me, and now who will I learn from next? Being open to that next failure, next relationship, next opportunity to learn. What her song does to take it even further is show that self-reflection is important for any of us. Ariana makes it even better by being brave enough to share this reflection with pretty close to the entire world. Maybe it's about just not growing up. There is a tremendous upside in the concept of I don't know. As children, we're constantly figuring things out. And I have this in front of my face daily with my own kids. What's incredible to witness is how they just continue to learn, literally falling down 9 times and getting up 10, or asking question after question with zero fear of being judged. Kids are pretty much scientists 100% of their day. So when and why does that stop? Either way, the more that we can adopt a childlike mindset throughout our entire life, the better off we'll be. Being a kid releases the tension in our muscles. It removes that low-grade anxiety we feel when we're not sure if we're making progress or the competition's catching up to us. And ultimately, it affords us a sense of wonder to say, I don't know, but let's just figure it out. It may seem silly to think of this idea of never growing up as though we're preaching like some sort of Peter Pan fans, but it's true. The more we can bring ourselves back to those days of play when it comes to our current desires, the more effective our learning will be. So what's the difference between something like education and learning? Well, for starters, learning is not finite in any sense, but education is. This is one of my biggest concerns with schools today. Even great, well-versed teachers can become hyper-focused on things like goals, curriculum, textbooks, and reports. To say that school is broken might be a bit of an overstatement or sensationalizing the concern, but there's definitely a lot of wasted time and energy. When I think of being an educator, it's definitely something that used to make me really proud, and now, at least in part, I want to get as far away from that term as possible. Education as an institution has proven time and time again to take agency away from students, which is in many ways the opposite of learning. We need to focus on learning far beyond the walls of a classroom or a school. It's better to think of learning as a really interconnected process between subjects, personal abilities, and just other things in the world. We need to think of learning as a process, but we're at a point where talking about it doesn't help a lot. We can learn anything from anyone, anywhere, at any time. So the thing to do, the thing to figure out, then becomes how. And I'm a bit stuck on the practical next steps to fix schools. Let's be honest, that's something that won't be accomplished in my lifetime, but I do know that it starts with one big question. A simple yet challenging question for anyone who cares is to ask, what is learning for? Now, how does this help eliminate imposter syndrome? At the beginning of this episode, I said that this will help you with imposter syndrome, and it's true. The next episode will too, but let me elaborate a little bit. If one person has achieved what you want, then it is possible for you too. When this topic comes up, I love to point people to the life of Eric Thomas. Long before he became a multimillionaire and brought inspiration to the world as a motivational speaker, E.T. the hip-hop preacher was a homeless teenager who did not know how to read. Once he unlocked a growth mindset, his message, his learning, and his business went straight to the moon. And en route to that, he definitely learned how to read. Recognizing how many people are learning in this world is fascinating. And it's also a great way to appreciate that leveling up ourselves is where we should focus our energy. It's always got to be you versus you. Think of the fact that there are 8 billion people in the world. Picture anything that you would like to learn. It could be fitness, poetry, sleeping, parenting. It really doesn't matter. But picture a massive ladder with 8 billion rungs on it. The top rung is where the best person in the world stands. The bottom rung is for the worst. At the very bottom of the ladder is no expertise. At the very top is super skill, the best in the world. Where do you think you sit on that ladder? How many people are well below you? I'll give you a hint. The answer is a lot. Now, how many people are well above you? Believe me, the answer is also a lot. Most of us are somewhere in the middle and waiting until we are at the end, until we've climbed the whole ladder. But this ending will never come. So if we're thinking, when have I made it? When am I a great filmmaker, a great athlete, or a great musician? We will always have that wondering. Instead, understand that working toward the end of the continuum, not actually getting there, but working toward the end of that ladder is literally the forever goal. Think of some legends like Adam Sandler, won't stop. Kobe, didn't stop. Taylor Swift, won't stop. I could go on and list some of the best people in the world at their craft, but legends like these also never reach that end goal. So neither will we. There will always be people stronger and people weaker than you and people on the come up next. So just keep working wherever you are. This is even more interesting if you think of it across multiple skill sets. Every one of us is climbing a ton of different ladders at any given time. For example, me personally, I'm getting better at fitness, parenting, podcasting, storytelling, business, and music, to name a few. Say you personally are an auto mechanic who would love to play guitar but has never tried it. If you think of working on cars, you're probably picturing yourself somewhere in the upper range of the world ladder. When you shut your eyes and think of the world ladder as it relates to playing guitar, you probably picture yourself a lot lower on that ladder. There is only one person who is the best in the world at a specific craft, and there is only one person who is the worst in the world. Everyone else, all the rest of us, stands somewhere in between. Like Mihai Csikszentmihalyi popularized, the more often we get into a flow state, the quicker we climb this ladder. The key is to get lost in the process, not the results. No past, no future. Just what do I need to do now? And you will begin to climb past people on that ladder super fast, and you won't even notice it. Begin to appreciate learning without any focus on results. You can use feedback, observation, or reflection at specific times, but 99% of the time, focus on appreciating learning without results. Oh, and of course, just keep learning.